In this video, we're going to make the axle peg. So we're going to start by creating a new part file. Make sure you pick standard. So we're going to create our 2D sketch on the XY plane. We're going to start by adding a line from our center point, which is this yellow dot here, straight up, and our dimension for that. So we need to add a couple of these things together. So this right here tells us that the length of the threaded part of our axle peg is 1 inch. Then we need to add on the top of our axle peg, which is 0.125 inches. So we could dimension this to be 1.125 inches. Our next dimension we're going to do is the one for this circle right here. So we're going to need to add in the diameter of this, and we're going to actually have to cut it in half because we want just the radius. So for this, we can put in the diameter, which is 1/4 inch, and then just divide by 2. So our next dimension is going to be for this bottom part right here, and that is 1/4 inch. So when you go over how to read a thread notation, the first part is the diameter, next part is threads per inch, and right here for this is coarse thread, and that is 1 inch long. Okay, so 1/4 inch for our thread part at the bottom, so that means we need half of that. So that is 0.125. And then we need this line to go straight up, and it will be 1 inch. We're going to have a line that goes over and another small one that goes up. So the first line that I did is this diameter right here. So we have 0.422, and we need half of that because we're using the radius. So that's going to be 0.211. So you want to have that from this point right here over to this line. Our next line is going to be this little section right here, and that is 0.031. Our next one is going to be an arc. This one I'm going to use the 3-point arc. So I'm going to connect it to this edge right here, this edge right here, and right there. Alright, there's 2 ways you can do this. Because I've made this enough, I know that if you just drag this to the center right here, it will actually come out to be the correct dimension. But I'm just going to type it in so you know what the dimension is in case you want to do it that way. And the dimension for this arc is going to be 0.236. Yep, and we can see our point lines up. Okay. And so here is just our basic shape for our axle peg. So now we can finish our sketch, and we can use our revolve tool. You can click on the center line and it revolves around. Our next step for this, we can add on the chamfer to the bottom. So we need to tilt this so we can see the bottom section. And our chamfer tool is underneath the fillet tool. So just click on where it says fillet and then click on chamfer. So for this one, we're going to be using the distance and angle one, because if we go back to our dimensions, we have a 45-degree angle and a 0.03 inch distance. So we could change our distance, and our angle is already 45. So we need to click on the face first. If you're confused on which one to do first, just see which one's highlighted. So the first one's face, and then the next one that highlights is edge. And then that gives us our chamfer. And then just click OK. Our next thing we can do is the thread. So for this, it's going to be underneath the hole tool. That's where our thread tool is now located. And you can click on your cylinder and make sure you go to the specifications to make sure it's the right one. So we have 1/4 inch, 20 threads per inch, and it is coarse thread. So let's just double check to make sure that's right. Yep, that's what we wanted. Then just click OK. Our last part is going to be the hex socket at the top. We need to create a 2D sketch. We're going to now use the polygon tool that's underneath the rectangle tool. So there's a lot of different tools underneath the rectangle tool. You actually have 4 options for rectangle, quite a few for slot, and then just your polygon tool. So for this one, because it's going to be a hex socket, we need 6 sides. We're just going to place it right in the center. We're going to place it off to the side. I'm just going to put this a little bit slanted so I can show you the next tool that I'm going to use so you can see actually what it does. The next one I'm going to use, for this one it doesn't matter which one you use, but you can either use the horizontal constraint or you can use the vertical constraint. And then you just click on the line and then it lines it up. Okay. So either one, because we're not too concerned with which way it turns. Your next dimension is going to be dimensioning across the flats. You can see how that now turns blue. Okay, if we didn't use the horizontal or vertical constraint, it would still stay green. And for this one, the dimension is, let's just double check this. All right, 5:30 seconds. So it's just, you're going to type it in as is, so 5/32. And then just enter. So now we can extrude that section. Remember, we want it to cut, so we want it to go in. And our distance for this is 0.111. So point and then 3 ones. So that is our depth. Click OK, and that is our axle peg.